In here is the brand new Logitech MX Master 4, and sometimes changes to a new product generation are barely noticeable. Like 2 more megapixels, 2 hours more battery runtime, but the upgrade from the MX Master 3S to the MX Master 4 is different because you can feel the difference. From the outside, Logitech kept what we loved but improved what we needed. The MX Master 4 is built with more eco-friendly materials, for example with up to 55% recycled plastics and 100% recycled cobalt in the battery. The new version is not only sustainable, it also feels different. Instead of having this rubber material everywhere, we now have a structured surface. And the rubber has been reduced to the side parts. This makes the surface much more robust for your daily use. The left and right buttons have been redesigned as well and are even quieter than on the MX 3S. Even the thumb wheel is easier accessible. On the side we can now find 3 buttons instead of 2. On the 3S there has been a button at the very edge, but this one has been repositioned to the side on the MX4, which is way more comfortable. And this button is really special because it supports haptic feedback. We will have a look at that in a second. And by the way, there also is a white version available of the MX Master 4. So for the normal versions you can find graphite, pale gray or black. And especially for Mac, you can find white silver or space black, which perfectly matches the colors of your Apple devices. So no matter what your desk setup looks like, the MX Master 4 will be available in a color that blends seamlessly into it. And now let's set it up. Once you start up the mouse, you can already feel a haptic feedback. And on. We also have the easy switch feature, so we can choose up to 3 different devices. For example, if you have a second desk setup, if you have an iPad, you can really connect the mouse to different laptops and devices. Oh cool, you can copy your settings from your previous device. Didn't expect that. So the third button actually is the gestures button, which we know from the 3S. We can use it by pressing it and moving the mouse. For example, to the left, to the right, up and down, and therefore perform different actions with just one key. For the haptic feedback, I feel like low already is pretty nice. Let's go through the most important settings. First of all, point, scroll and press. Right here on this new action rings button, you can adjust the sensitivity. So if I put it to light, for example, I just have to press the button slightly because I feel that's the most comfortable setting for me, and you get haptic feedback on this button, no physical feedback. Let's go to the settings, and in here you can actually decide when you want to feel a vibration. And did you ever hear about Logiflow? It's a tool where you can actually use one mouse on the same time on 2 different laptops, for example. So you can switch the screen from one laptop to the other as if it was just one device. You know what's funny? This is the MX Master 3S. And until a few days ago, I actually loved the design, but I got so used to the new design of the MX 4 and I really like it. Now my favorite upgrade on this new mouse is that you can feel what you create. This is the first MX Master mouse which supports haptic feedback. On doing some specific actions, you actually get a feedback with vibration. And this is not only if you press a gesture button, for example. No, it's also integrated in creative apps like Photoshop. So for example, if we move a text around and the text aligns to a specific point, then you will get haptic feedback. Or if you have different grid lines and one of your objects, like for example an image, aligns to one of these lines, you will get haptic feedback as well. These are just some of many examples where you can actually get more control over your creative work. And for me, it's not only that, it's also that this haptic feedback makes your work feel way more interactive. With full battery, you get up to 70 days of battery life. And if your mouse is empty, you can just charge it for 1 minute to be able to use it for another 3 hours. There are 2 more things I'm so excited to show you. First of all, you probably know the Actions ring from the MX Creative Console or from the MX Master 3S, but there's been an update. For that, we go back and open up the Actions ring. Customize the ring, and you can see if you press your Actions ring button on the MX Master 4, it opens up this beautiful ring. And let's go, just for example, into Adobe Premiere Pro. Right here, I have some color adjustments. And when I open up the Actions ring in Adobe Premiere Pro, then this is what it looks like. I can just easily hover with my mouse over the shadows, for example, and then scroll with the mouse wheel. And if you look closely at the shadows here, you can see it moves. I can also do a left click and drag it to the left and to the right. Now, what's new is, usually you've got up to 8 different actions right here, but now you also have folders. So you can drag and drop a folder onto one of the actions, like I did right here. And inside the folder, you can add many more actions. And you can also customize the folder right here. I just called it Creative Effects and I hit the icon. So it looks like this. Now here you can see Sharpen, have a look at it. The Actions ring, the folder, Sharpen. This is where I can adjust it. As soon as you hover on one of these actions, you will feel that small haptic feedback. And now my next favorite feature. Let's go back to our MX Master 4. So this is the standard mode, but when I open up Premiere Pro, I've got my own profile. You can add more profiles for different applications here, but let's focus on Premiere Pro. On the Shift Wheel Mode button, I want to put something else. Something which is called a smart action. What is it? Let's just create one and I want to show it to you. First, we've got a trigger, which is when I press this specific button. And what I want it to do in Adobe Premiere Pro is to open up the warp stabilizer effects. Because usually when I'm here, it's so much effort to open the warp stabilizer. You see, I have to go to effects, I have to type warp stab and then drag and drop it. So I just want the warp stabilizer to show up with a simple click. First of all, we need a keystroke because the effects window opens up with Shift 7. So I start recording, Shift 7, and then we have to press Tab 2 times to navigate to the search panel and stop recording. Next step is to add a text. Right here, we add warp stabilizer. Confirm. And now what's new, what we can add is the haptic feedback. So after we did all of this and the warp stabilizer is ready, we will get the small haptic feedback. I'll save it. Now it's here. And in Premiere Pro, I'm in the timeline or wherever I am, I just press this button and within a second, it opened up the effects panel and looked for warp stabilizer. And you can do this with any effect that you use really often. Thanks to a new chip and optimized antenna placement, the MX Master 4 also doubles down on connectivity. It's stronger, faster and more reliable, whether via Bluetooth or with this little USB-C dongle. You don't have to use it, but if you feel like a Wi-Fi or any other Bluetooth devices interfere with your connection of the MX Master 4, you can use this and the connection will be even better. This ergonomic design also is something I really got addicted to. I've been using the MX Master 3 and 3S for years and I can't imagine to use any other mouse anymore just because of this design. It's way more comfortable for me personally than the normal mouse design where you just have the flat or curved surface. So I'm really happy that Logitech kept this ergonomic concept. Now, what about you? Let me know in the comments which mouse you currently use and if you will upgrade to the MX Master 4. Happy creating!